Oh, hi there. I wanted to make a video making a statement about the news I've heard that there will be a transgender in the Playboy magazine for November, December. I've collected Playboy in the last year or so since the restoration of nudity. Um, I've got from February all the way up to the latest one, with Halsey as the cover model. Um, I mean, I didn't want to judge a book by its cover, but when I saw her with pink hair and tattoos, I did get slightly judgmental. I didn't think that the next step was gonna be that there was gonna be a transgender model. Um, I can't say I'm too surprised with just the way political correctness and mainstream media has been going about things. I will not be buying this magazine. Um, I have some theories, which I will share with you when I get to that point. Um, but there are some things I wanted to talk about, and one of them being is you can't judge a book by its cover. That isn't fair. I mean, Halsey, I took one look at her and, she's not a bad looking chick, I suppose. But, fundamentally, if they want to look like that, then usually you can kind of tell what their political viewpoint is gonna be. I mean, like I said, you can't judge a book by its cover because chicks can look totally normal and have, even more extreme viewpoints um, as far as LGBT movement, transgender, and all that sort of stuff. They could look totally normal and have even more harsher opinions on that subject. And um, you know, it's up to people to be able to detect personality traits out of people when they communicate with them, when they have open dialogue and they can begin to understand people. So, I mean, instinctively, uh, you know, if you start to notice the scene sort of drifting off in a direction you don't want it to go, where that's how they get you. They condition you to accept things in a subliminal manner. Like, first of all, it'll be everything's normal, and then all of a sudden there'll be, an X factor, in the background, and then the X factor gradually gets bigger and louder, and then, all of a sudden that becomes the norm. Uh, well, there are some of us who do understand that concept, and if we're not gonna stand here and take it. Um, as far as this transgendered model that's gonna be in the November issue, um, I wouldn't actually be surprised. I'm not gonna find out first time because I'm not buying the magazine. Um, that it's not a digitally altered photo. Because Photoshop is very real within all magazines and most television programming too. Um, in fact, I have a horrible feeling some nasty fans of mine are gonna draw pictures on my face, and I can't stop them from doing that. I ain't too bothered about it because it doesn't matter what they think. Um, what I'm saying here is that I wouldn't be surprised at all if this transgendered model, I forget its name, I don't know what it is, um, has Photoshop parts that actually aren't from the male anatomy. Because one thing that LGBT and the transgender movement does not want to admit is that I don't know what percentage, but probably a very high percentage, probably like something like 99.9% of guys who try to present themselves as women have fundamental flaws about them that give them away. Um, I mean, I could go through the obvious ones like the sound of their voice, the shape of their hips, their hands. The hands are a dead giveaway most times. Those are the obvious ones. But the LGBT movement and the transgender movement, they want to go, no, it's seamless, it's this and that, and people should just accept it, and it's part of what's considered normal and everything. I go, uh, no. There are parts of the male anatomy that are no, they're not attractive. Uh, at least from my standpoint. I don't know about other people. I'm not going to speak for other people. I'm talking for myself here. Um, Men have the wrong shaped body parts, as well as having body parts that I, you know, and so my point was, in this magazine, I am sure that the pictures have been digitally altered somehow to make the model look more feminine-like. Um, Again, I say this with the horrid thought that somebody's going to draw pictures on my face because they have a little program, because they're a little douchebag geek, you know, whatevers, and I can't stop them from doing that just because they don't like my opinion. Uh, there are other people who won't do that, who are listening to what I got to say. Anyway, yeah, what I'm saying is, there is the idea that you know surgeons and the people who back money behind surgeons, that they can do anything, that anything's within their capability, and they actually aren't that good. Uh, I suppose they're getting better, and there's enough idiots out there with money who will go to these people and have them mutilate them. Um, it's really creepy, and they need test subjects. So of course, what's the best way to get test subjects? Get a bunch of idiots who don't know fucking anything and manipulate them into thinking what you want them to think. I mean, obviously, people aren't going to go along with this and they're not going to agree. You may not hear them vocally say so, but there's no way. There's so much contradiction within the upper crust of society in all of its branches of the government, in Hollywood and all those places. Always contradiction, and you know it is intimidating, the thought that a transgendered person may be in possession of a WMD. That's something that would definitely put a chill down my spine. Um, can't can't understand why there's just this obsessive compulsive nature where it has to be a certain way. It's not intelligent. It's a big stupid stone that's in the way. And you can't change its mind, and there isn't a point in trying really. You got to get around it. You got to get it out of your way. And you know, I'm not even mad at Playboy for uh, introducing this into the magazine. Um, I think I read somewhere that they had done it before in the 90s and the 80s or something. And in, other languages, or, other countries, they have their version of Playboy where they've done it. Again, there are contradictions. Um, there are people within the Playboy organization that obviously do not agree with this decision. Now, they may not come out publicly and say that. They cannot, probably, in most cases. But there isn't any way that they agree. Um, I think what line did I read? And it's not even quoted. This was the first search result I found. It was on the CBC, and Well, there's the Twitter post from Cooper Hefner. We should collectively be fighting for a more open world, not one that promotes hatred and a lack of acceptance. Um, yeah, sure. That can be interpreted many ways. And then under it, it says a little bit here, and then in quotation, there is trans women or women. That is not up for debate by media commentators or anyone else. We applaud Inns, I guess that's the person who's going to be in the Playboy magazine, for continuing to speak out on the rights of trans people everywhere. End quote. This doesn't specifically say it was Cooper Hefner that said it. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Maybe he's not even in control of his own Twitter account. I don't know. But it's a huge jumbled up mess, so who even knows? I mean, Cooper Hefner doesn't strike me as a rampant homosexual, but I could be wrong because, as I said, you cannot judge a book by its cover. Um, uh, yeah, so yeah, some of the main points I wanted to make is that mainstream media is trying to find examples of men who've decided to become transgendered and look the most plausible as being a female. Um, let's get one thing completely accurate here. Um, if a man is born a man, he's always gonna be a man. If puts on makeup, has his nails done, whatever else they want to do, doesn't matter. Still a man. I don't care what anyone else thinks. Um, and that goes the same thing for women. If a woman wants to be a man, she can't do that. It is impossible. She doesn't have the right organs and never will have them, and it won't ever function properly. Um, in the end, they'll just become abominations. Uh, I mean, looking like something and being something are two completely different things. And it doesn't matter what people think. Um, it's like I didn't even want to make this video to be honest with you. Like I was, I wanted to buy the November Playboy edition a few weeks back because I wanted to get into the rhythm of buying Playboy magazine, but obviously I'm gonna have to skip this one. I mean, it's funny because some people go, "Oh, why are you buying them at all? You can download them as a PDF file, on the internet for free." I have my reasons. I support the industry. Not all parts of the industry, because, as I keep saying, there's contradictory parts where people don't agree on things, and that doesn't stop the people from putting stuff out there and representing it as a whole. When in reality, they just had the advantage and were able to put it out there. Um, so yeah, there's some things about Playboy I don't like, obviously, and it's not just transgenderism creeping in, feminism creeping in, or anything like that. It's there are things that heterosexual men have done throughout Playboy's history that I obviously don't like. I mean, like, if you really understood or knew exactly what had been going on, a lot of things about Playboy you wouldn't like. But on the other hand, I think internet pornography has the potential to be a whole lot worse. And it already has so many bad things about it. Um, it it has its advantages, um, but I do despise internet pornography. Like, under different circumstances, I wouldn't even watch it at all. I would feel no need to. I mean, obviously, I'd still collect Playboy magazines. Obviously, if they didn't have transgendered peoples in them. Um, I just would not like to see that become the normal, that it's always like that, because then there's issue. And me going back to, well, what if they digitally alter photos to make certain individuals look a certain way, um, make them look more passable? Um, well, uh, my major contention with that is that it disconnects from reality, um, and um, supposing they don't admit that an image of a person is what they say it is. What if most pictures become altered to the point where um, they're not entirely accurate? And I don't just mean, if somebody's got a mole on their face or something that, you know, uh, that doesn't get covered up or whatever. Um, that's a little bit different. I mean, like almost like when they're Photoshop Frankensteining things onto things. Um, because yeah, getting back to this transgender model, I saw the picture of it. I didn't really want to look at it, but I looked anyway. And, you know, I ain't no expert on that, but I'm saying it is possible that it has been digitally altered to look more feminine. I've seen pictures of that person's face, and it does look like a man's face. Um, it has. Go look for it yourself, okay? It's on the CBC page on the Google, the first in the search engine. And obviously this is like not good news because it's uncertain what direction the Playboy is going in. And obviously there's contradictory opinions and figures within the organization that are kind of a problem and want it to go in a different direction. And then of course there's also the profit motive, which plays big factor in this decision making. Because some people, regardless of their personal beliefs, it's all about the almighty dollar to them. Whereas I disagree. If I fundamentally don't agree with something, I'm not going to for any amount of money. And a lot of people go, "Hey, man, a lot of money, whatever, right?" I go, "No," because a lot of money usually means a lot of rules, a lot of you got to do what they tell you to do, and this sort of thing. And it's just like not even worth it. If it's under their terms, then and you don't agree with their terms, then obviously the money ain't worth it. Because I mean, money can buy you stuff, but uh, you could live in a $15 million house, drive a gold car, and have uh, elephants, giraffes, tigers uh, in your backyard, but still be a slave, depending on conditions and circumstances. Like it depends on what else you got to do. Um, Obviously, if you had a gold car, $15 million house, and a zoo in your backyard, and there were no terms or conditions, then that would be different. But nobody gets those sort of things without terms and conditions. So I don't like these people who immediately dismiss if somebody getting a whole pile of money and going, "Oh, I don't care. I don't give a rat's ass what happens to that person, whatever." And I don't like that person instinctively because they don't have money themselves and they're jealous. Those are the petty reasons. Um, like I actually feel bad for people who get too much money because sometimes things can just go south. And I've said that before on certain things. It's better just to, take a more relaxed position. Obviously, you want some of the good benefits of being in the upper crust. Everybody would. Of course, there's not enough resources to accommodate everyone, but you can certainly better your situation. But you obviously don't want to be in a position where you're being told to do things you don't want to do. And unfortunately, within Playboy, I know there are heterosexual males similar to myself who are associated with Playboy in its decision to go in this direction, and they need a little bit of help to make sure that it doesn't start to get worse and worse and worse because, like I said, it's like a stone. These people are obsessive compulsive, and they're not satisfied with a little bit. They want it all, and if people let them do it, then they'll win. Uh, but there will always be people who say, I can see what you're doing there. Don't like it. Don't agree with you. And, you know, I ain't gonna stop you from doing what you want to do behind closed doors. Well, mostly because I don't have the power to. But also, if it doesn't affect me, then I'm not, you know, that's another thing altogether. Um, However, Playboy being released to the public and being introduced to impressionable peoples, uh, I would prefer that this is the one and only issue of Playboy that features a transgender. Uh, I would prefer that. I would prefer there weren't any at all, but obviously I got no say in the matter. I'm going to skip this issue. Some people would buy it because not because they're into that thing, but because who knows why? I don't know why. Because like some people would. I'm not going to, and I know the kind of insults that people hurl at me based on my decision. I mean, I think I'm being quite rational about it. I think I'm being quite fair about it. But other people are very hypocritical. They, there's no place for hatred in this world, blah, 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 politically correct stuff. But that's just the mainstream rhetoric. On their side, they're calling you all kinds of horrible names. I ain't got time to think of names to call people. Like, I'm busy doing the things I do. So I don't give a damn. Uh, my logic is superior to their logic, and I don't have to waste my time arguing with idiots. Um, if they don't like what I got to say, they can freely get the fuck away from me. And so, to sum this up, um, Playboy is going to release an issue next month with a transgendered model in it. I am not buying this magazine. Um, I should have anticipated this happening, but I didn't. Last model was Hazley, and she's got pink hair, tattoos. So to judge a book by its cover, she looks like she would promote this idea. And coincidentally, this is the next issue. So, you can't judge a book by its cover, but you can most certainly get some sort of a sense of what you might expect. And as I said, a woman can look totally normal, do all the normal sort of things women do, and be hardcore, extreme LGBT and transgender and all that sort of stuff. You don't have to have blue hair or streaks or whatever. And also on the flip side, there can be women, chicks, with pink hair, tattoos, all that sort of stuff, and not be for LGBT or transgender or any of that stuff. Um, I mean, offhand, if I see chick with, you know, brightly colored, unnatural hair, I would presume that um, they're leaning towards more of the LGBT rights thing. And, depending on their level of intelligence, then that could be an issue. I mean, if they're stupid and they just, want everyone to be nice, then yeah, sure, why not? But if their opinions start getting a little more complicated, then obviously that's going to lead to unpleasant conversation, especially if they're going to get up in your face about it. Uh, because, you know, heterosexual males are just not going to take this. And, it's not even like um, the LGBTs haven't had rights for all these years. Obviously, there have been people who have not liked them, and for good reason, I might add. Uh, but homosexuality and lesbians have existed throughout history for a long time. And actually, a lot of the people throughout history have been LBGT, actually. So when they come out and this is their platform of saying equality, acceptance of everyone, and then they turn around and they don't like heterosexual white males, that just shows their hypocrisy. I don't care about their rhetoric or their propaganda. Like some people can see through that, and you know, uh, there's no place in the education system for that type of thought. And you know, um, the thing is, I guess I haven't said anything in this video any other pseudo intellectual heterosexual male wouldn't have thought of. I was kind of hoping to have a open forum on this. I'm not going to get that, but that's okay. Um, anyway, I look forward to the January edition of Playboy, but rest assured, I will look up and see if there's a transgender in it. I really hope not. Anyway, talk to you guys later. Have a good one.